Welcome to the fourth episode of Ridgeview High School's Modern U.S. History podcast with Vietnam veterans. Today we have Kevin McGuire's interview with veteran Monsignor Kenneth Seifried. In his early 30s, Monsignor had already been to college and seminary school and decided that it was time to follow his family's tradition by serving our country. He ended up serving 28 years in the armed forces, and 12 months of that time was spent in Vietnam. We hope you enjoy listening to Monsignor's adventure and experience as a chaplain who helped bring a sense of comfort to the people he encountered on a daily basis.
My name is Kevin McGuire, and I'm a junior at Ridgeview High School. On February 15, 2018, I had the honor of interviewing Monsignor Kenneth Seifried. I hope you find this interview as interesting as I did. Thank you for listening.
I am Kenneth Seifried. I'm a Catholic priest, and I served in the military 28 active years, and I think this is about Vietnam. I was 12 months in Vietnam.
First off, thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Of course. My first question, were you drafted into the war or did you enlist?
I enlisted because my father was in the First World War on the German side, and then my three older brothers were all in the United States Army on the American side, so I just figured I need to follow suit and keep up the family tradition. So I enlisted, but I came in as an officer, not as enlisted.
How old were you when you enlisted then?
I was 33 years old. I came in as a lieutenant, and I drove to Colorado Springs, and the first day on active duty, I was promoted to captain.
What were your thoughts when you knew you were entering the Vietnam War?
Well, it's an old saying in the military, it's the only war we have, and so you do the best you can. The only reason people join the military is because they want to preserve the peace of the United States, and a lot of times it takes war to do that, and so this was the only war, and I was young enough and energetic enough and adventurous enough. That's where the action is, and that's where people want to go, even though it may not be safe. But it was kind of the glorious thing to do. So,
Were any of your friends or family kind of upset that you were going?
Not really, in the sense that my other brothers, I had one was in Korean War, and that was pretty tough over there. He's in front line. No, I think they kind of knew that I was kind of adventurous. I went off to college and seminary and teaching school, and just wanted to want to see the world also. And they figured out I'm old enough to make my own decisions.
When you first arrived in Vietnam, what was the atmosphere like? Did you enjoy it right away?
Well, I got there in July. It was hotter than blazers, and the quality of living wasn't very good. It was almost like going on a farmyard into a chicken farm, because just little huts and tents, and you just find a little cubicle and not much privacy, and you get a little bed, and you sit around for a couple of days till they finally tell you where you're going to be assigned to, and it's a quality of living. Life was very kind of crude. You don't have any really much of a quality of life, like for bathroom facilities and so on, bed, and it's really very basic, down to earth. You're on a piece of ground, and they put a couple of tents and little huts on there and make do for a couple of days till you get farmed out to where you're going to be assigned to permanently.
What you guys wore exactly, was it kind of an issue sometimes? Or?
Well, I was mostly with artillery, and the infantry, that's one-on-one almost, shooting at each other at close range sometime. I was artillery, and artillery, a gun can shoot 20 miles. So I was most of the time with the artillery, and we were shooting into different areas, and then as a result, the enemy knew where we were, so they were shooting into us. We might have been 15, 20 miles away, shooting at each other, but the ammunition would come and hit us too as we hit them.
Did you ever interact with the people of Vietnam at all in the war?
I did. We always tried to, as a reason, I was a chaplain, I was a Catholic priest, and I couldn't carry a weapon, and so a lot of my work was like public relations. I could get into the community and talk to some of the local people, and someone could speak English. So I had a pretty good interaction. One of the best was one of the local Catholic priests took me to a restaurant one night, and the restaurant was the best I've ever been, because, as you know from history, Vietnam one time was occupied by the French, and the French are good cooks. And I went to a restaurant one night along the river, and it was kind of an outdoor restaurant. It had 80 different things on the menu. Everything's a la carte. If you ordered let's say a piece of meat, nothing came with it. You had to order that, and it was very, very good. So I knew some of the Catholic priests there, knew some of the people, and always kind of interact with them, which was kind of limited. So I got to live out their culture.
You said you didn't carry a weapon. Was that because you were Catholic? Did you choose to do that?
No, every chaplain, regardless of religion, cannot carry a weapon, because as a chaplain, we're supposed to minister to both the enemy and our own people. And so we're supposed to be we call it non-combatant. We carried a card saying that. And so we were neutral in regards for the combat. We're supposed to minister to everybody, but I had a chaplain's assistant, an enlisted person. He was my right-hand man, and he had the weapon. So he would protect me. But the only problem was, in a military vehicle, he was the driver, and he had the weapon. I'm sitting there as a passenger, and so my hands are free, but I'm not supposed to shoot a weapon. But it was kind of a little bit awkward deal, but couldn't carry a weapon, so I could minister if I was captured, and I could minister to anybody, and that's because all chaplains, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or so, we're all neutral.
Did you form pretty good relationships with the people you were stationed with then?
Oh yes, when you're over in those places, you really have nothing, and so you just have each other. And it's amazing the friendships you make. The only thing is, I've been out of the Army now 19 years, and some of the people I don't have contact with anymore. But there's a really good camaraderie, because, gee, you're with them all the time. You travel with them, you see them all the time, and you might even sleep in a big old, what they call a hooch, big old hut, and a bunch of soldiers in there. And so good friendship. And what's really amazing, I don't care what religion you are, you're human, you're a soldier, and we're in it together, make the best of it.
So what were some of the hardest parts of being over there for you?
Well, it was, first of all, the weather was same. Just, I guess personally, I like Iowa. I like the change in season. I look forward to the hot summer coming up. I look forward to a good old blizzard. I like putting on the overcoat. I like wearing the T-shirt, and it was just same, all the time. And then every day of the week was the same. You didn't look forward to the weekend. It was the same as Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, you didn't have the support. Like for back here, you get in a car, drive someplace, go to a shopping mall. There you just, every day, same.
So you're just constantly dealing with that hot, humid weather?
Hot, humid weather, and then with, you see the soldiers here and there. And I was there kind of at the end of the war, and a lot of the soldiers were kind of bored, and there wasn't too much enthusiasm, because it looked as if we were going to be pulling out. And it was like a game of tag, like King of the Hill. I'm King of the Hill today because I shot a bunch of, we captured the hill. And then the next day, the enemy comes back, they capture the hill. Didn't seem like we had any progress or so. We just spent 12 months there kind of shooting at each other.
How often could you actually get in touch with your family members back at home?
Good question. We didn't have the high technology like you have now. It was just mainly just letters, just to the U.S. Postal, and we always just put down free where you put the stamp. It was free mail, and that was about it. Telephone, I don't know if we had the capability. I think maybe it was rather limited, but that was kind of a very important thing. Like I try to, if people had families back home, I think to go to the USO or some building and they can make calls. I never had to do that. So the main thing was the old mail. I don't know how long that took, maybe 10 days or so. But I remember it was free. We could write down free up where the stamp went.
What were your thoughts when you initially found out that you'd be going back home?
Well, it wasn't too exciting in the sense that you couldn't wear a uniform. The Vietnam War was a very unpopular war. And so you get on the airplane and you're in a uniform, you had to wear it, and many of us would go in the restroom and change from the uniform into civilian clothes. So you get off the plane in the airport so that people wouldn't come up and spit at you or accuse you of being a baby killer or being... the Vietnam War, if you were a soldier, you were really a target. You didn't know what... And so it was just amazing how we're treated now than what we were then, that you didn't even tell anybody because people say, "What are you, a baby killer?" or so. And so coming home, well, the best thing about coming home was getting out of there and being able to buy a new car because we had money then too.
So did you try to not affiliate with the Vietnam War anymore after that, or?
Well, there was, the war, I came out of there in 72, I think 74, 75, it all ended. And there wasn't much talk about, no one really used the Vietnam War as a glory thing that you went over there and saved the country or so, because we didn't. It just kind of faded away, combat until the Gulf War. So never used it much as saying, well, I was in Vietnam, or didn't wear a cap, but saying I was in Vietnam. It wasn't a very popular thing to be a part of.
Oh, other than discrimination you faced from the people, coming back home and being a Vietnam veteran, what else was hard about coming back?
Well, it wasn't too much hard coming back because I got a car and got decent standard of living. Kind of nice to come back and then just kind of put it in the past and got excited about what the future would be to get back to a normal way of life. See, when I came in the Army, I came in right away off the street, no training. Then finally, after about 6 months on active duty, I went to New York City for training for a couple months. And then, so coming back out of Vietnam was the first time I'm going to get a permanent assignment in the United States and really see how the military in the United States is like. So that was kind of a new exciting. So, and then, but Vietnam was kind of happiness in a rear view mirror. So.
Well, that's all the questions I have. But is there anything you want to share?
Well, some people would accuse me. I had some Catholic priest friends, kind of accuse me of why would I go over there? And I always said that I don't make the policy. I don't make the policy that we're over there. I'm just there because there are human beings there. Wherever there are human beings, I wanted to help take care of. And I was with some good ministry over there. Because a soldier, as they say, there's no atheists in foxholes. And so the soldier really wanted to know if God was with them. And for example, if they wanted crosses or medals because they figured that's the evidence that God is with me. And one little neat story I like to tell, I tell frequently, I was in a fire base and I was offering services. I came in there and they said right away, I came in a helicopter and you spiral down and you jump out the last 20 feet or so, run in, and I say, well, I'm a Catholic chaplain, we have Catholic services. And the soldiers say, what about Protestants? And they said, I don't have a Protestant minister with me, but I'll have a prayer service. Okay, so I had a Catholic Mass. Halfway through the Protestant service, I said, and somebody rushed in and said, a kid got hit in the leg. I got to go out with the medevac bird. So I concluded the service, went out there, got on the medevac bird, and this kid was really banged up. He got shot up. And he saw my helmet. We had a cross on it, my Kevlar, they call it. And he squeezed my hand so tight because it was evidence to him, physical evidence, that God was with him because he knew he was in trouble. And he had a big grip, and a big smile, and he reached in and he pulled out a St. Christopher's medal. Then he reached in again, he pulled out around his neck a Franciscan scapular. He reached in again, he had a rosary. And so at all those Catholic items, I said to him, you know, you're Catholic, I'm a Catholic priest. And he said, oh no, he said, I'm Southern Baptist. And now it didn't make any difference to him that I wasn't Catholic. It didn't make any difference to him that he wasn't Catholic, or so that I wasn't Baptist for him. He just wanted physical evidence that God was with him. And he held my hand so tightly, and I rode the helicopter, went to an aid station, and they put him on the table, and the doctor said, you know, he has to go down to a headquarters, a bigger hospital, because that leg is in bad shape. And he just squeezed my hand, he turned, looked at me, and he said, you go with me? Well, the medic was there, and he knew I was going to go back over where the combat was, and the medic was really a sharp guy, and the medic put his hand, and we exchanged hands, and the medic held his hand, then I disappeared, and he got in the helicopter, went back to, he went down to Saigon Hospital, I went back up to combat zone where I came from. So it was a good and powerful ministry over there, because the soldier really appreciate the chaplain there, because that was a symbol, a signal to that person, God was with him during these very troubling times.
That's amazing.
So,
Thank you, Monsignor, for taking the time to share your story with Kevin and all of us. It certainly gave us a better insight into the Vietnam War, and it's so interesting to hear each Vietnam veteran's different stories, considering you all fought in the same war and yet have such different experiences. Please watch this Facebook page, because next week we'll have Nick Gish interview Burdette Conover.